Hello and welcome to this Open Farm Sunday webinar, which is all about communications and boosting visitor numbers to your event. And I'm delighted today to be joined by Thomas Edwards from Sevendale Farm over in Monmouthshire, Herefordshire, over on the Welsh border. And then we've got Hannah, and Hannah is part of one of the directors at Pinstone, who is doing all of the team are doing all of our trade PR this year for Open Farm Sunday. So Hannah's working really closely with us and doing an absolutely amazing job and supporting us with linking with our sponsors as well. So very excited to have both of you here. So thank you very much indeed. Right, so we have if I share my screen and then we can start the presentations. And I'm just going to whiz back to the start here. Right. Apologies. Let me just, oh, there we go. Share. Right. I'm here. So now I'm going to have to stop sharing my screen and just whiz back because I failed to go back to the beginning of the slides. So if I can just go back and then I will share my slides again. Right. Here we go. So hopefully I'm on the first slide now. Apologies about that. So today's presentation is all about publicity and how to boost visitor numbers. And as I say, I'm delighted that I'm joined by Thomas Edwards and Hannah Lloyd. And I forgot to welcome Madge as well. Jessica, who's the other key part of the Open Farm Sunday team. So I always start with the first slide just to say for anyone who's watching who's not done Open Farm Sunday before, you know, Open Farm Sunday is a really, really special event, connecting the public, connecting farmers with the local community. It's a key opportunity to show your commitment to sustainable farming and just show how British produce is produced by our wonderful farmers. So to get involved, you can organise any size or type of Open Farm Sunday event on your farm, whether or not it's for 30 people or 300 or 3,000. It's up to you how you manage visitor numbers. The last webinar we did was focused on using a ticketing system and how you can do that to control numbers. And of course, it's free to register and there's lots of free resources. So here's just a couple of slides of some of the free resources that are available. So we have on the left-hand side, for people who like traditional things, who like a piece of paper to actually take round to places, we have what technically they call them belly items, so a belly poster and a belly flyer there, but basically branded with the Open Farm Sunday branding, and it's there for you to personalise and overprint. So we have the A4 poster, the A5 flyer, and the postcard has space on the back. Whether or not you overprint them or actually print sticky labels and stick them on, it's up to you. But people find them really useful to do things like send them to local primary schools, put your details on them, ask them to be put into book bags for children to take home at the end of the week. Or you can put posters up in shops, on notice boards, depending on the size of your event. And some people will actually put their information on the poster and the flyer, and then actually use that graphic as one of their graphics on their social media as well. Then, of course, there's the visitor farm on Open Farm Sunday gate banner there, which is brilliant. Those are usually put out 3 or 4 weeks in advance. If you put them out any earlier than that, then you've potentially got the wrath of your local council coming on board to say, take that banner down. But we can normally get away with 2, 3, 4 weeks in advance. And then, of course, we've got some signs as well. So we've got a host of free resources that you can order from the shop. Some of the flyer and the A5 flyer and the poster, we have Welsh versions, bilingual versions. And then something I wanted to say, because this webinar in particular is focusing on increasing the number of people, boosting the number of visitors, Actually, we have our template press release, which for larger events, you're very welcome to tailor and use. Once your event is registered, it's in the downloadable resources on the website, and you can tailor it, and there's some hints and tips in there highlighted in yellow areas for you to change. And a lot of farmers really enjoy using the press release. I know that Rona Amos down in Cornwall, she'll send that out to the local press and media. She's also sent it out to local radio stations, and frequently for her event gets on to BBC Radio Cornwall, and she finds that that's a good way of boosting the numbers, so getting local radio contact there. So that's a good one to use for actually boosting your numbers. And then in the middle there, we've got an example of one of our digital graphics, which has a photograph there of the cows. And so last year, I think it was, we started providing some Open Farm Sunday branded graphics, but with an area in there which is transparent for you to be able to put a photograph behind to tailor to your event. And if you need help on how to do that, then you can just contact Jess or I at the Leaf. And then talking, Hannah is going to go much more into talking about social media. But one thing that last year, you've probably seen on our social channels and our emails, this year we're organising 2 host farmer in-person events. Last year we had 1 event, and Eve Communications were there and gave a sort of masterclass in social media and communications. And this was a fabulous template that they developed for people to use if you like a template or want to develop a plan for your social media. So this is something that we will put on the downloadable resources for people to access. But I love the fact that it gets you to think about things like promotional items, promotional messages that you could use, informative educational ones about you, because people always want to hear your stories, and just something entertaining and fun. Great ways to think about different messaging for your social media. And then just to talk about our in-person events, there's still spaces available if anyone's available on Thursday the 20th of March up in Yorkshire, or on Wednesday the 26th of March down in Berkshire. We've got 2 fabulous days of inspiring presentations and workshops, and Thomas is actually coming and joining us at the Atherton Estate event. So thank you very much for that, and you'll be presenting there. But that's great. So we've got these events to come to, and then we've got the rest of our Zoom webinars. All of them are recorded and available on the website, but our next one is on the 2nd of April at 10 o'clock, logistics, talking all about practical things like parking and lots more. So that's it. And then my last slide is just to say a huge thank you to all of our sponsors, and we can't deliver Open Farm Sunday nationally without all of their support. So this is my opportunity always to thank them. So now on to the first presentation. So Thomas, would you like to tell us about your Open Farm Sunday event and how you achieve getting so many visitors to it? Over to you.
Hi guys, so I'm Thomas Edwards, Managing Director of Sevendale Farm down here, just Chepstow. We're in an ideal location. I've got Newport, Bristol and Gloucester all within a 15 to 20 minute drive away, and Chepstow itself is a rather large town as well. The farm itself, we are farming just shy of 900 acres, milking 250 cows, completely organic. And we also have diversified quite a bit as well. We've got a farm shop that's employing 48 staff. We've got a golf driving range, allotments, dog hydrotherapy centre, a business centre. So we've diversified out in lots of different directions as well as just a farm, but the farm's still the core of the business. Open Farm Sunday, the reason we started that was mainly to help boost our farm shop. That was our main reason for doing it. And it works really well. It drags people out that wouldn't normally come out, and because it's free, we don't charge anything, and people can have a good day out. You know, it's good PR for us, and we've really got on well with it. We started out our very first one with about 400 people. We tried doing the farmer walks and just guiding people around the farm. and realized for us that didn't work. So for the following year, we started having maps made and doing like self-guided tours, and saying on there that the milking demonstrations here between 10 and 2 and things like that. And that seems to work for us. It's also one of these things that it grows every year. Every year we do it, there's something we add to it. Last year we added, so friends of ours is a gun dog trainer. So he had his dummy set up and he was firing him into a field, and his dogs was running off and collecting them and bringing it back. So it's something, it's not really agricultural based, so it's turning more into a bit of a show as we get on. We have a bar, we've got music, we've got 7 or 8 different caterers that turn up to the event now. Our biggest one we've held was the year before COVID, and we actually had 7,000 people turn up. That wasn't expected, but the week beforehand, Hartbury College, who also ran the event, or were running the event at the time, had a bit of an issue with one of their students shooting a cat, and it went viral on social media. They closed the event down because they had a lot of aunties turn up, and as we were the next closest Open Farm Sunday, we had a lot more people turn up, including the aunties who were following them all down, and we had that to deal with as well. But it's just always being prepared for the unexpected, and having a load of aunties turn up on the farm on the day was interesting, but we dealt with it. We showed them our cows were out grazing, they were fully organic, and we managed to wangle them around, and I think they went off somewhere else after, luckily. But yeah, so our event, you turn up on the day, you come into a calf shed, which we turn is our entrance shed for the day, where we sign everybody in. So we count who comes in. We have donation buckets there, which we raise money for the young farmers, the local young farmers who do the car parking for us. And they also help out during the day doing other bits and bobs that are needed. So yeah, so come to the car park, into the calf shed, where also the first aid point is, onto the main yard, where if they arrive at about 12 o'clock, they can see the milking, or they can come back and see it on the way out. And then they come through the sheds where we have shearing display, cattle foot trimming display going on. We have a friend of mine brings his chickens down, and people see get up close to them, and the goats. And then at the back of the shed is where we have the bar, the catering, and everything like that up on the farm side of it. And we have tractor and trailer turning point. So it's where we have 3 tractors and trailers going between the farm and the farm shop all day. And people just jump on, they'll go down to the fields where we have horses ploughing, vintage tractors ploughing. We do tractor pulling, they come along. So we have that going on. A static machinery display is another thing we do. And a new one for this year is I've got a 12-acre field next to it, which my local contractor is going to have his machine set up. He's going to mow a section every 20 minutes, ted a section every 20 minutes, row it up and bale it. And his wife is going to be there on a megaphone explaining exactly what we're doing and why we're doing it. So people can see modern machinery working alongside the vintage machinery as well. And then when they get down to the farm shop, we cross over the road and we have lots of tastings and everything like that in a picnic area. We have discounts for the golf driving range for the day. We have Transition Chepstow there on our land share with the allotments, talking to people about growing your own veg at home and how we do it here. So it's really, it's one of these things that every year it's evolving and it's turning into. Last year, for instance, Chepstow show, our local agricultural show, we had more people through the gate at Open Farm Sunday than they had through our local agricultural show. So it's really starting to turn into something bigger than what we ever thought it would be. And I'm just embracing it and keep trying to grow it. But one of the best bits is getting the staff absolutely love it. They look forward to it. They know it's a hard build up, getting the farm clean, making sure all the drains have got drain covers on them, pressure washing everything 2 weeks in advance. You know, it is a hard graft getting the Open Farm Sunday ready, but on the actual day they absolutely love it because they love it talking to people passionately about what they do on a day-to-day basis. And yeah, we all go to the pub afterwards and pass out because it's just such a draining day from from communicating with people and just, you know, is draining, but they absolutely love it. But you can see photos now here where you've got the pigs, you've got the vintage tractors ploughing, the foot trimming display by a guy who used to be my herdsman. It was his idea. He set up his own business as a cattle foot trimmer. And he said, I'd love to be able to show people what I do. It's like, come on down, come and show them, you know, and I get 40 cows foot trimmed for free of charge that day. It's it all works out. There's a couple of things which are becoming more difficult for us going forward. The tractor pulling is one of them. We're being advised we need to put Harris fencing up, and the costs involved with that are starting to spiral. So I'm debating whether to have the tractor pulling this year. I've had them the last 7 years, purely because of costs. It does cost to run the event, and I'm just trying to make sure those costs don't spiral and I can still keep it a free event. I budgeted last year about 4 grand, and that was with the cleanup as well as everything else. On the advertising side, I've got young children. I've got 2 boys, Ollie and Hugo, who are 4 and 6. So I'm in quite a good knit with the local nursery and local school. So they let me put some of the flyers out to go home with the children. But social media would be the biggest platform. Facebook, all the local Facebook groups. I am a month beforehand dropping them in. I start off dropping in all the local pages, probably once a week for the first 2 weeks. And then when I get to 2 weeks before the event, 3 times a week. And then the day before, a couple of days before, it's every day. Just saying, look, Open Farm Sundays this weekend, here we are, this is what we're doing, come and have a good day. And the thing I love about it is that because it's a free event and I advertise we have a picnic area, your single mother with 3 kids in the local town could come out for the day with a picnic. The kids can have a great day out, not cost a penny. They can learn something. And that is where I'm massive on, is they're learning. And the kids learn with their eyes. So they're seeing things. And they can take that away, and they've had a brilliant day out. And on the flip side, the ones that are the families who do have disposable income, they've had a good day out for free. They might buy a joint of beef from my farm shop, take that back, have a Sunday roast, and they might be a new customer that's then going to return because they've had a good day out. They socialize, they visualize the good day out, the good joint of beef, and that hopefully they'll be a returning customer. And also, the other thing that's been a really good for us as a farm is staff. I've had 3 members of staff come through, do an apprenticeship, all because they came to Open Farm Sunday and saw what we did and were interested, and then went to Hartbury College, did an apprenticeship on day release and all that. And I've put 3 people through that now, all for coming from Open Farm Sunday and wanting to be involved in agriculture, which is another big thing for me, because I think the agricultural industry, you're struggling to get people who are not from agriculture to come into the agriculture and to want to be involved in farming. So that's another big thing I'm really proud about. And you know, they're not, well, yeah, the 3 of them, none of them are working for me now full time, but they're all on local farms within a couple of miles of here, you know, learning their trade. TikTok was a new thing we started really last year, doing some videos on the cleanup beforehand, getting people like geared up for it and saying, look, this is what we're doing, we're getting ready for you guys. My little sister there, you can see in the center of the photo on the right hand side there, she did the Snapchat filter. I wasn't really sure about it, but she done it and got it sorted for the day, and it got used more than I expected it would. And Instagram, I do put a bit on, but I emphasize mostly on Facebook. That is where I really push my advertising, and I will put money behind it as well, up to about 100 quid for the lead up, really just to make sure I'm getting it out there. And because we can draw Bristol, Newport and Gloucester, you know, I can push that money to make sure I'm getting into those areas to be able to pull more people into the area to come and have a wonderful day at the farm.
Wow. That's amazing. Thomas, thank you so, so much indeed. That is just phenomenal. I've got loads of questions, but let's go on to Hannah now and on to your presentation. Now, you're actually going to share your own slides, aren't you? So
Okay, thank
that's
you.
fantastic. Great. Over
Brilliant.
to you, Hannah.
Fab, are you seeing that okay?
Yes, we can.
Perfect. Well, thank you. Thanks for inviting me, Jess and Annabelle, to come and speak to you all today. It's really lovely to be involved with Open Farm Sunday, such a fantastic initiative. So yeah, proud to be associated with it. So just by a bit of a very quick background, who are Pinstone, and we're a specialist PR and marketing agency that works across food, farming and the environment sectors. So we work with loads of different clients right across the industry, from Leaf and Open Farm Sunday to various other names and brands you may have heard of. But a lot of the team, there's 20 of us in the office, a lot of the team, myself included, are farming at home or linked with farming in direct routes via family, etc. So we're living it and breathing it in the coalface as well as through our work with the industry. But as an agency, obviously our job is to advise clients on the best use of comms. So we do everything right across the media, from traditional print, web, social, you name it, we will look at it. But today, obviously, I'm specifically talking to you about how you might use communications to promote an on-farm event and get more visitors. So I'm going to whiz you through lots of ideas around where to start first, because it can be quite daunting. There's a huge amount you can do. Obviously, you've heard some great examples from Thomas on what they do on their farm, what works for them, but what works for one farm might be totally different for another. So yeah, going to give you some options to think about. Obviously, talk about social media is a really cost-effective route to promoting an event on farm. Think about the different channels that are available, what you might do with them, and then some top tips really of what makes good content. So promotion, where do you start? Just keep telling people many times, as Thomas said, keep hammering that message. People won't see everything all the time, and even if they see it, it'll take them several times for it to really log in. I love this quote about tell the audience what you're going to say it, then tell them what you said. Yeah, you can never tell people too many times. Obviously, you want your content to stay engaging, but yeah, don't be afraid to keep pushing a message out there. It's like, we're all busy people. We need there's a rule of 7 that you need to hear things a lot of times before it actually lands. So where do you start? As Annabelle showed, create a plan, whatever works for you. Don't overcomplicate it is my advice. Don't make it a barrier to doing it. Keep it simple, but create a plan, what you're going to do, where you're going to start. Think about the channels that you think might work. Hopefully I'll give you some thoughts on that. But think about where to start with your channels. As say, be realistic is my advice. Don't sort of try and do everything. You're better to do a few channels really well than try and do absolutely everything and sort of feel like you can't keep on top of it. Thinking about engaging those that are involved. So when I talk about that, it means if you've got other farmers helping you, or if you've got perhaps your local dealership coming along or your vets involved, get them to support you and help promote it as well. Obviously, a message shared by many will go much wider than just shared by one. So do think about how you use those that you're involved with. Think about being engaging. So what would you think was entertaining? What would you stop and see on social and actually engage with? You're an audience, so channel what you might like. So yeah, think about that. It is about being engaging. Be consistent. So if you're saying it opens at a certain time, stick to that. Yeah, just be consistent with what you're saying. But do listen to feedback. If people are like, oh, I'd love to see more of that, or last year this was great, learn from that and give them what they want within reason, within what's possible. But yeah, listen and learn. And then obviously at the end of the year, see what's worked really well for you, and you can learn and refine for future years. So social media, on average, this has come down a bit, but it's still a shockingly high number, I think. People spend on average 97 minutes a day on social media. Obviously, that's a wide-ranging spectrum of social media channels out there. I'm going to talk to you quickly about a few of these that you can see here now. So platforms, Facebook, I totally agree with what Thomas said, especially targeting that family audience and local communities. Like in terms of who's the decision maker in the household, it's still probably the Facebook generation in the main. So I do think for events, it's a very good channel. It's one to definitely put your energy into. Obviously, I don't know if you're aware, but it's linked through Meta, its parent company, with Instagram. So I do often package those two together personally, and I'll come on to that. But yeah, it's a really good consumer platform, works really well for human interest. So like days out, events, it works really well. There's really good functionality to set up an events page in there, which I definitely recommend you do. That's something that you can then share and tag in your other stakeholders, etc. And as Thomas said, stakeholder community groups are fantastic for getting reach, getting to people locally as well as maybe slightly further afield, but target audience. So if there's a local mums chat, that sort of groups are very good for getting families out and things like that. Definitely. I haven't gone majorly into the advertising today, just for sort of obviously time of what I could cover, but Facebook is really cost effective and you can do some nice geo targeting. So if you're, say, wanted to target a 5 mile radius, you can pick the town and do quite a simple advert to sort of push your message out wider than just the people you're connected to. So that's definitely cost effective. And as Thomas has said, like £100 goes a long way on Facebook. You can spread that out sort of £20 a week. So yeah, it's a bit of trial and error, see what works for you, but it's definitely worth thinking about if you're just wanting to push the numbers a bit further. Yeah, it said here about suppression for unpaid ads. That's more for companies, but if you're sort of really pushing one message, sometimes the algorithms can clock on to the fact you're promoting something. So that's where the money will help get your engagement and get your reach on those posts. Because essentially Meta and Facebook wants to make money. So if you put a little bit of money, you'll get a lot further with your reach and your engagement. But yeah, it's a really flexible platform. There's no limit on content or anything like that. So yeah, definitely the one to prioritize, I'd suggest. Instagram works really well in partnership, as I've said, with Facebook. Really visual platform, works very well for photos. Think about Reels first. It's very much a video first platform now. So make your portrait reels, short, sharp videos. Doesn't need to be really shiny, just really nice, engaging pictures and videos of what you're doing on the farm. That build up story is really nice to follow through, perhaps have a weekly countdown or something like that, but show people the real life of what's going on farm, give them tasters and sort of, yeah, teasers of what's coming. Stories can be really good to do that with. So that's where you can essentially make little short reels. It's all within the platform, all very easy to do once you have a go. But that can help target that slightly younger audience as well. So perhaps sort of young professionals or younger couples and things like that can work really well. Twitter, or as it's now known as X, real-time news. So that's quite good if you're already on there for like short, sharp updates on timings, things like that. We don't tend to see it as popular sort of now as it perhaps once was. I wouldn't necessarily prioritize it, but if you're already on Twitter and got a decent following, I would use it for those updates. But it is short and sharp. TikTok, if you're engaged with TikTok or got someone in the family engaged with TikTok, definitely worth thinking about. Again, short, sharp, engaging videos. But this might be one that actually, if you're not doing much social media yourself already, it feels a bit overwhelming. Perhaps consider this on your longer list. But yeah, if you've got someone who's already engaging and using TikTok, it's a brilliant way of getting really good reach on your videos and reaching that local audience and sort of young students and that next generation. This is definitely where there's a massive growth. LinkedIn, less popular for B2C, but if you're engaging, say, your suppliers, so say you've got vets, feed merchants, machinery dealers involved, this can be quite a nice one of keeping those relationships and promoting what you're doing with them. So that's something to consider if this is a channel you already engage with, but I probably wouldn't prioritize it for the external audience. WhatsApp, often overlooked as a social media channel, but essentially is. If you say got a local community group that you're already involved with, don't be afraid to advertise in it in the same way you would on Facebook groups. If you've got a farm group you're members of, use it to ask them to help of your coming to help on your farm visit, on your farm event. Yeah, it might be something to consider growing a WhatsApp community of visitors, something to think about because it's a very good direct way of updating visitors about what's coming. YouTube, video first. If you're into video and you get a taste for capturing video, I definitely say get things up on YouTube as well, even if they are sort of a bit rough and ready. Authentic farmer content does go very well on YouTube and it's a really good search platform, so it's definitely something to think about if that's something you've got time for. So quick whiz through on great content. Ultimately, like this is an acronym we think about at Pinstone a lot of the time. It's how do you hit the mark? So what's your hook for the content? What's the impact? How do you touch hearts and minds? And timing, is it right for now? So if it's a really rainy, dreary day and you're putting out a beautiful picture of a sunny farm saying, you could come to this in June, you could argue that's perfect timing because people want to see something to look forward to aspire to. So yeah, just a little simple way of thinking about what's the angle, why is this interesting to the audience, what am I saying, how does it resonate with them, is it gonna like really strike a chord because it's a big scary stat, or is it just a lovely picture of some cute lambs that's going to touch hearts and minds, and why is it interesting? So in terms of content, as I've touched on video quite a lot, video is really powerful, and most social media algorithms are now really pushing video first. So even if it is just rough and ready, selfie video of you talking about what you're going to be doing, or video of your team talking about what's coming up, that works really well. It will definitely help with reach. Relatable images, so people want to see what they're going to see. They don't want to see something that's like fake or not going to be real on the day. So do keep it really authentic. If you've got a dab hand with like design, or like things like Canva are really good tools to just do simple visuals that are a bit more impactful, adding like a bit of commentary on the top or like graphics overlay, things like that can help just convey a really key message. But yeah, think about what works well. Audiograms is something interesting because people like power of podcast. Again, you can do voice notes, overlay that over a picture. There's quite easy ways now to create different types of content. So some do's, some don'ts. Content that works well. Animals, people love cute animals, or machinery. They want to see what they're going to see on the day. It's that like can't resonate unless they can see it and touch it. That behind the scenes, the good and the bad, I'd suggest, like hilarious picture of people fall in the muck or whatever, that sort of content works well. It's very relatable, a bit humorous. That educational, did you know, that works well as well. Again, in the edge, like that's a core part of the point of what Leaf is doing, is that educating about farming with nature. So conveying that. Time-lapse videos, or just any sort of video showing something through the days, through the weeks. I think it's really relatable to see how much things are growing and what's changing. I think it's hard to imagine unless you see it, those types of things. But that posting strategy, I say Thomas said what works well for him. I definitely think about creating a plan sort of 6-8 weeks out, but then steadily increase your promotion until right upon the event. And like in that week run up, you can't go too hard, I would suggest, but build a bank of content. Like every time you see something, I think that's a good picture or that's a good video, capture it there and then, so you're getting a bank of content, because that makes it so much easier for when you're actually getting it posting out. There is science around optimal times, so evenings and weekends work very well. But yeah, getting people to engage with it. So making sure your team are sharing the content on, making sure anyone who's coming to help on the day is also sharing the content. That will all help the engagement on these posts. The algorithms on these social media platforms sort of feeds off reactions and likes. So if people start liking it, you'll see it starts to gain a bit of momentum and a bit of traction. If you get any questions or comments, again, top tip, always respond, even if it's to say, oh, I'll speak to you offline about this. But if the platform sees you're not answering questions, it again is a bit of a black mark. So do try and always respond to comments and things. Obviously, if you did get something negative, so if you got trolled on any posts by aunties or anything, report and hide. So again, obviously there's measures built into social media platforms to help you manage that sort of situation. So finally, just some really quick top tips for content. Photo tips, good light, make sure you think about where the sun is, things. Don't zoom in when you're taking pictures because it really ruins the resolution. Take it and then crop it afterwards if you want to zoom in. So always just take it at the zoom that your phone is set to. Obviously think about the format of what you're capturing and create a nice image. Make sure your lens is clean. Like, it sounds daft, but I know my husband's camera on his phone on the farm is absolutely disgusting. So everything is through a haze. So do think about little things like that. Yeah, in terms of the format, I would suggest if you're only going to capture it once, now I would capture it in vertical for stories, and then you can always crop the landscape because obviously with it video first and stories and reels, think about that vertical. Videos, make sure you've got battery, simple things, clean lens again, think about where the sun is. But yeah, I find really short, sharp videos layered up can work really well to create nice reels. It doesn't need to be like really shiny or anything like that. As I say, just start doing something. If this is new to you, get involved and try it, but you'll soon start to feel what works, and then you can use the editing within the Instagram Reels tool to just help you make this into a really cool video. But yeah, keep it short. Don't do anything over 30 seconds, I'd suggest. Short and sharp is much better. You're better to have a series of short videos than one really long video, definitely. Like TikTok, it's like 15 seconds. So yeah, really short, sharp. So whistle-stop tour of social media promotion. Happy to take any questions though. So yeah, thanks ever so much.
Fantastic. Thank you very much indeed. Would you like to stop sharing your screen, and we shall ask, do we have any questions from Helen and Jill specifically on communications? You're welcome to come off
There is a question in the chat, Annabelle.
Okay, and I haven't seen that. Sorry, let me just have a look. So in the chat, we've got, did you need permission from visitors to share photos of the event afterwards on your website or social? The answer to that is that we do have a poster that you can download from our resources. And I don't think we've actually got any printed at the moment. We may well have some in the packs that we can send out, but it's definitely one that you can download. It's an A3 poster. We've been advised by lawyers and about that if you are welcoming the public onto to a venue for an event, if you put posters up at the points of entry, so kind of around the car park and where people go through a gate or actually enter into the event, then, and you say on there that during this event you are taking photographs and video of people, then and this will be used, may be used externally in press, in media, on our website. Please contact the event organisers if you do not want to be included. Then that is good. That people know that if they're going to a public event, that photo and video will be taken, and that is fine. So that will cover you. If you take specific photographs of a family scene, then again we have forms on our downloadable resources where I would recommend that where we've got very close family groups, that you have, if you've got someone specifically going around with a camera and they get a close-up of the family, it's good to get them to sign a video consent form as well. But having the poster at the beginning of your event is absolutely critical. I have been to events and I have taken photos at events where somebody has come up to me and said, my son's adopted. I can't have any photographs of him. That's happened twice in the last few years to me. People will say, and you respect that and delete all the images that might include that person. So, so yeah, hope that answers the question. Would you concur, Hannah?
Yeah, no, definitely get a sign up, definitely. And if you do any specific videos, just ask people's permission. Maybe ask them to sign a really simple one-page form. But yeah, definitely.
Great. Do you have any tips for farmers who are new to social media?
Yeah, I can provide some thoughts on that. Have a go, I'd say, is the best tip. Don't be scared by it. It is hugely daunting. I appreciate that when you're looking at all the different channels, everything that's available. I'd start with Facebook if you've not done anything before. Have a go. Ask someone in your family or someone, because there's bound to be someone you know who's really good at social. They'll give you a bit of a masterclass and just start somewhere. But yeah, start by taking lots of nice pictures, videos out and about on your phone anytime you're doing something on the farm, because having something to post is the hardest thing. If you've got nothing saved or no pictures or videos, you sit down in the evening to do a post, that's a big barrier. So yeah, capture pictures and videos on your way around when you're doing things all the time. Then you've got a bank of images and videos to go at and just have a go. Yeah, start with one channel. Oh, there we go.
Yeah. Did you want to say something, Thomas?
Yeah, so just as we've been on this, our first post has gone out from our Hamley Farm Shop Facebook page, promoting our event for this year, telling people to put the date in the diary. It went out 30 seconds ago. With three, it's got 3 photos and a little bit of spiel about what we're going to be doing this year and who's helping out this year with it, Williston Young Farmers. So yeah, so we are already advertising.
Yeah, brilliant. So no, I think that's really good. It's interesting. If you're not confident, as Hannah said, ask somebody who knows. When Andy Basin was involved in our first webinar of this year's series, and he was saying that somebody in his village actually loves doing that type of thing, and he knows them, and they've offered to do all the. He's run 6 Open Farm Sunday events, and that person, so he just sends over photos and little bits of text, and he's just found this lady who does the social media post for him if you really don't want to do it yourself. But I think that's a fantastic thing to do. I mean, I love the there's a farmer down in Wiltshire who wanted to just organise a private closed event, and went round the village and wanted local villagers to come, and she dropped off, you know, we were talking about the postcards and things, she went and dropped them through all the houses, and she said she was amazed that half the people who turned up to her event never actually spoken with before. Hadn't appreciated. She thought she knew everybody in the village, but when it actually came to it, there were lots of people that she didn't know. So that's fantastic. But social media, yeah, I can't agree more with what you've said. I think we've covered lots on that, and definitely Facebook has more traction for this type of family event. I think as that slightly older profile, sort of adult parents engage with Facebook. We were talking about money, and Thomas, you very kindly said that you ask for 20% of takings for the pitch fee on the day as a pitch fee. I saw on the map that you actually had a couple of, I know that map was a couple of years old, but had a couple of business logos at the bottom. Do you actually get anything sponsored?
So
event or not?
We do get a little bit of sponsorship money in. There's a company called S-Rules who we buy all our diesel from. They chuck us a little bit of fuel, which helps on the cleanup. We advertise our own little side hustles there as well, with the golf driving range and all the bits like that. So we're advertising our other businesses on with it as well. And then one of the other businesses will cover the cost of the advertising like that. The catering side on the 20% is when I was first looking for one, they said, you know, how much would they charge? And I looked around and people were charging like a nominal fee of £500. And I thought, well, if it rains and not many people turn up, that seems a bit steep. So I came to an arrangement with them where we said, well, 20%, whatever they take on the day, you know, I trust them enough that they're going to be honest about it. And you can gauge how busy they are through the day and how truthful they're being. And that seems to work well. You know, so a 20% share. So if you have a good day, you know, they have a good day, and vice versa. You're taking the risk with them.
Yeah.
And you're more likely to get people to come on board that way for that. And we have face painting as well and things like that. But the face painting and things like that, I let them do a donation to the young farmers because it's not a great deal, and it's something else to keep the kids occupied for a little minute. And yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you very much indeed. If anyone has any more questions around communication and boosting visitor numbers, then please get in touch with the team direct, and we will answer whatever we can. If we don't know the answer, we will find out for you. So thank you very much indeed. Thank you, Hannah. Thank you, Thomas. Thank you, Jess. And thank you everyone who's joined us. And I hope you found that useful. And our next webinar is on the 2nd of April, all about logistics and actually organising the event. Thank you.